So I just want to start out this video saying that I'm not against individual Scientologists. And the first time that I went in was 4 months ago for a church service because they said it would be starting in like 15 minutes. And everyone I talked to today was very friendly to me. And this one guy in particular showed me around, and he had, we were around the books that are there for sale, and made the comment that Hubbard sure wrote a lot, and he said that he put 50,000 years of technology into the books, and he said there was no Xenu, but there's science fiction aspects to Scientology because he wrote science fiction. Uh, he even took me upstairs, which was very surprising. I didn't think that he would, but when we got off the elevator, immediately like there's a waiting room, and it looked like a psychiatrist or psychologist waiting room, which was a little interesting. But individual classrooms, from what I could see, were just normal rooms, and there was a lobby or break room kind of area, and I didn't stay there much because they were all huddled in the back of the room, probably just going over stuff. So we left that area, and people were nice outside in the hallway. This one guy that I talked to, he seemed very clear, and he asked me if I'd ever been there before, and he recognized me from earlier. And when he meant here, like they clarified, he didn't mean like inside the church. He meant like just around UT area. And so that was interesting. But during the service, they had a get to know your surroundings kind of exercises where you would touch your head, you would touch your arm, you would touch the chair you were sitting in, and the ground and such, even like the door, just to know where you are in space. But they said that the service wouldn't be like any other kind of religious ceremonies that I've been to, and you know, it wasn't. They said it'd be a little silly, hence the exercises and such. And the woman in charge asked me if I had ever read anything about Scientology, and I nodded, but I didn't say like I read all the OT documents and stuff, which I have them on my computer. But you know, they were very friendly to me, and the big thing that I took away from there that day, because if you've ever, I took a psychology class in college, and just one semester because I only went one semester at college. But the big thing that I took away from that service, and I wasn't getting before, was how you'll read all these things in these Scientology books that's borrowed from psychology, but people don't really equate it with that, and they're very anti-psychology and psychiatry. And she said at the end, reading from the book that she had, which was this huge book, and Scientology cross was on it, which I took this pamphlet today because I lost my original. But she said to look for answers not from within, but from others around you, which, that gets you in the whole group think mentality, and us versus them, uh, like Tom Cruise said, if you're in the Church of Scientology, you're not communicating with SPs too much, you're not really going online and stuff. So that was something that I took away from there. Like, okay, that's along with the whole, like, can you follow the instructions of touching your head, touching the floor? Like, I can see how they kind of get some people with that. And today I went again, mainly because I wanted this pamphlet again, because I saw that there was a poem in it where L. Ron Hubbard wrote, "Tell the children the work was free," which is very funny because all their books, besides like, I took these booklets today because they were free, but there's a lot of books in there that cost money, of course, and um, there was just today I went mainly to get this back and to also take the personality test, which I'll get to in a bit. But first, they had me watch a film about Hubbard's life, and the big thing that I took away from that film was there's this one scene where he, they say that he had a Japanese speaking man and an English speaking man read the same poem in each of their languages, and it was to see the emotional response from the two. And he had this contraption that looked like there was glass spinning around, like he took it off of a lamppost, and there was a flame separated from it. Like he took apart a lamppost with just the glass and then the burner away from it, and they were speaking into the flame. And somehow that was have to do with emotional response, but how he jotted it down was just with his hand. There's nothing else to really, like, what was the point of the flame? What's the point of him spinning the glass even? And then he's just writing it down, this line across, like how the personality test, if you can see that kind of, but it goes along the graph with the line, and it's just this wavy line. And the narrator said that regardless of the language, the emotional response was exactly the same in all the same places. And he took that to a psychology department, and the very stern, antisocial kind of psychologists were like, poetry, this belongs in liberal arts. And they sit down and they have this woman in a chair, and they swing around this pocket watch to try and hypnotize her. And so Hubbard took that as being like, screw these guys, I'm going to do my own thing. And he wrote Dianetics. And that was, the acting in that film was kind of funny. But after the film, this other woman, separate from the first time, she entered in all my results herself and printed out the sheet, which, this is what they gave me. They just gave me, when you're filling out the test, you put the circle in for positive M or negative minus. And so the test results by the line is like up or down, I guess, or neutral, so it would stay in place. And they just had this line. And the thing about it was, when I was going over it, I didn't read half of the questions. I just jotted down an answer. So even looking at the test result, like, I could say that I am this, but there's a guy named Chris Shelton who's a former Scientologist, and he has a video that I'll link in the description about it. And it's pretty much as he says in the video, where the test means nothing. It has nothing to do with Oxford University. Maybe L. Ron Hubbard was in Oxford, England when he came up with the test. But it's really to see how you respond to them talking. And I got antisocial kind of, so I had to read these 2 paragraphs on my own. She just gave me this booklet and she said, read this. And after I read it, we talked a little. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a job right now, and I'm just surviving off of my painting. And I lied saying that I was a painter, and I used that to kind of get this booklet back, because I said I really liked the pictures. And she said, oh yeah, you would like the pictures because you're a painter. And I wish I was a painter. But after that, she had me watch from the website volunteerministers.org. Like, me being a painter, she went to this one video in particular, and you can go there yourself and see about this short film about negative people, antisocial people versus positive social people. And it's very, black or white, that film, and no gray area. Like Tom Cruise said, you're either with us or against us. You're either going with the group or you're not. kind of thing. And that's, along with the whole look for answers in others, not yourself, that's a very groupthink, controlling an individual amongst the huge block of people kind of mentality thing. And, you know, if you are a Scientologist and you're thinking of leaving, I recommend looking up like more about Aleister Crowley, because he was in a group called the Golden Dawn, and there's this pamphlet and also a larger book called Golden Dawn. And even getting back to the pamphlet here, there's a glossary, and it goes over the bridge, and also talking about like OT. That's just one letter away from OTO, which is Ordo Templi Orientis, which is a group that he joined and became the outer head of. Tried to like get the Lima injected into it, which there's actually an OTO temple here, or an oasis here in Austin. And but getting back to this quote about the bridge, it's basically completely taken from Aleister Crowley and trying to get across from the idea of a bridge across the chasm. It comes from an old mystic idea of a chasm between where one is now and a higher plateau of existence, and that many people trying to make it fell into the abyss. Which, if you read Aleister Crowley, he talks about a lot about that kind of stuff. That propaganda video didn't mention Jack Parsons at all, by the way. And so now I'm sounding anti-Scientologist. I'm not trying to, but, just going through this and concluding right now, I just got to say that if you're in Scientology, you really got to have a more critical mind about stuff, because just showing people, like, on a grid, like, where their answers are, like, she said that it was from 9 personality types, but what is this? There's nothing here except just answers, basically. There's no, this is who you are, this is why kind of thing. And she just talked to me about what I was and what that could be, sort of. And I went along with it. I was very nice to people both times I was in there, because if I was just very antagonistic, they just kick me out, and I don't want that. But, you know, yeah, that's all that I gotta really say about Scientology, and, have a good day. Bye.